I let love, I let go, I release, and I know I forgive, I receive, I can feel, I believe, I am healed, I am whole, I release, I know. To push, no need to try, no need to worry or question why. Surrender, let go, release, and know.
Welcome to the Brahma Kumaris, where a new world is opened up for you. From humble beginnings in India in 1936 to a global organization with 8,000 centers in 110 countries and 1 million students worldwide, your tireless commitment to Kumaris arrived in America in 1970 have since grown to 35 main centers throughout America. There are also 2 residential retreat centers located in upstate New York and Anubhuti located in Novato, California.
I want to just share a little bit about how the Centers for America began in United States. Actually, I was in Carolina. I got invitation from New York that we want to start something about meditation, and it was in 1978 I came here. And a very small part in Astoria, and from there I found that a lot of people have interest. I realized that there is so much need, and from there onwards then centers started in many other states.
Our centers are safe spaces where you can explore the power of your inner world.
The class conducted.
Good evening to each and every one of you. As I was sitting there and just listening to that meditation, I was telling Santosh how even though we're in the midst of this pandemic, such beautiful productions have emerged because we've had enough time to be able to use our time in a good way, you know, not wasting it in things that aren't important. But as I sat and I listened to the words again, I've heard that meditation 100 times, and I will tell you this, I could listen to it 100 more times. Each time I play it, it takes me into a different place of thinking about myself and moving the soul towards my divine splendor, my divine reality, because we get so caught up on all the human tendencies that the world definitely vibrates from. And we wake up in the mornings and the first thing we see is this body and all the stories that are connected to the body. And we forget, but there's a machinery that runs this body. There is an energy that runs this body. And what the next normal is all about will be, are you taking care of that internal machinery? Are you taking care of the soul? Are you really paying attention to what these thoughts are trying to signal to you? Right before we came on air, and by the way, let me introduce myself in case you're joining in for the first time. I was in a deep dive for the meditation. I'm Sister Jenna, and if you're joining us for the first time, we've been holding these online sessions because the Brahma Kumari's meditation museums were closed. And so we were closed from March 16th. We just got news that Maryland is opening up, so we're looking forward to seeing what steps we're going to take with our museums. We have one in Silver Spring, Maryland, and we have another meditation museum in Tysons Corner, Virginia. And we will be updating you as we go along the way. But if you're joining us for the first time tonight, a very, very warm welcome to our tribe of the most beautiful people on the planet. What we started to do was to hold these online sessions for staff and just an intimate amount of the community. And we weren't expecting that it would be friends of friends and family members would share, and friends from Philippines. Sheila, I don't know if you're on with your crew. A very warm Om Shanti. I know it's your morning rise there, and I wanted you to know that I'm not forgetting you at all. So to Sheila and her crew in the Philippines, you're remembered, you're loved. Thank you for the support. I'm glad you find it a sustaining tool first thing in the morning when you wake up. So what had happened is that from March 16th, we produced over 145 shows. So has it been about, what, Santosh, a week or two with the next normal? A week? 2 weeks? Is the second week? See, we don't even know the time of day anymore, but you've rolled into the second week of the next normal. We felt like things are changing, and we've changed. And in order for us to stay genuine to you, our family, our tribe, we needed to let you know that we're changing, that we're also not just from the same level of dimension. We have an enormous, close, and profoundly powerful group of friends from around the world. They come with great resource, great talents, great strengths. We wanted to share them with you in the community. We wanted you to be aware of all the options that you can choose from, and not just from us at the Brahma Kumaris, but that the Brahma Kumaris contains and holds the world of thought in its community. We don't judge or compare or criticize and say, well, if you're a Christian, you go over here. Well, if you're an atheist, well, we're not going to talk to you. With the Brahma Kumaris, the whole world belongs in a place of the one heart of the divine. And so with that said, we have so many people and so many friends out there that can offer you such richness in your life. So the next normal is to prepare us for how we re-enter into this world, from an old self or from something new. So if you were with us when we were Spiritual Vaccine Hour, and you had many laughters with us, with Sister Geeta coming on the set, who is my mother, who is enduring a case of, sometimes she just doesn't remember very well, and sometimes her behavior gets a little bit entertaining. And so for those of you who were on Spiritual Vaccine, you remembered how funny those nights were, and many moments when poor Santosh was losing more hair because he wants to do a perfect job with his production. And then little Happy, our little pup, would come and jump up on the lap. So there were various scenes that would take place. But that's what happens when you're in lockdown. And we wanted to stay genuine to the story, that there's these other things that happen when you have a mother that's changing, a puppy who loves you. And then, Santosh says, and sometimes I mess up too. I'd forgotten that part. So when we move into the next normal, do we take all of that with us, or do we change? Do we move into a divine splendor? Do we transform? Physically, it all looks the same. To some extent, it seems the same. But internally, we shouldn't be the same, Right before coming on, I was telling Santosh I've been spending some more time in our quiet room, in our what we call Baba's room. And I had promised I was going to show you a picture of it. Maybe by the end of the show I can, but it's a really beautiful space. And my days are quite full, on meetings after meetings, calls, messagings, running here and there. And what happens is that I haven't really had that time to sit. And last night I was talking to Lakshmi, who has come to my rescue to take care of the chariot and the soul. She came to help with the chariot and the soul. For those of you who know, I had a surgery, how long ago? 2 weeks ago? Can't even remember. But immediately she just says, I called, I reached out to her, can you come, are you available? And without a question, she got the okay from our BK Center in Cinnamonson, and we thank them from the bottom of our hearts for their love and generosity. And without her, I don't know how I would have managed for these last few weeks. It's just been a blessing. So last night, I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, I came into the kitchen and I said to you, I haven't had this in so long. To sit in Baba's room for 2 hours or for 3 hours and write and think and listen and get a download and prepare and to allow that divine splendor to emerge, because our whole lives here is constantly giving, and we love that, and we will not stop giving. And sometimes in that giving, though, we sometimes feel, well, maybe it's just time for me to take. My health opportunity became my opportunity to receive love in a different way. I'm usually on the end of the giving of love, and that was giving me my receiving. And all of a sudden I found myself, and I don't have this ego. I was talking to Carolyn Wilkins, who's the senior pastor of a wonderful church in New Mexico, in Santa Fe, New Mexico, a Unity church in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And Carolyn Wilkins and we were talking about, I don't have that ego. There's so many spiritual leaders in the world, they have different forms of ego. Mine is not there, that I need to prove to anyone my accomplishments and how much I have done and where I've been and what what I have. That's not important. It actually has never been. In my 20s, yeah, you needed to know. But in my 30s, I was like, well, maybe you don't need to know. And then in my 40s, the thought wouldn't even come. And in the 50s, forget it. It's not even an idea or a thought. So I was talking to Carolyn Wilkins today, and I just said, I just don't have that ego. If I'm in need, I will tell my friends. And that's exactly what I did. Selective group of individuals who I knew were not as attached to me, but they had love. That, come on, I need your prayers, I need your vibrations. Together, we can heal this body and make things work. And sure enough, we stuck in it. For those of you who might be watching in, we stuck in it for about a month and a half together, and I didn't tell my family members or anyone. Still haven't told half of them. I don't think it's important. I want to get everything cleared up. I want to get everything out of the way. And then I'll go public and do even more than what I'm sharing with you, because in some ways I'm a little vague with the story. But the point that I'm making is that when you start to raise the energy and change your interpretation of things, and you start to see things differently, it helps if you can sit in your own inner solitude and work on yourself. So when I told Lakshmi, I haven't sat like this in years, and there was a look in her eyes, and she's sitting here in the studio, and maybe she won't even understand what I'm about to say, but there was a look in her eyes like, I'm so happy for you. You deserve that. And that was how I felt. And it was such a wonderful moment. And then last night we got up. I'm in the meditation room. What time, Sister Gita? 10, 11, I don't know, 12 o'clock. We're sitting, and then I want to really sit deeply and quietly, because the question that I'm going to raise to all of you tonight is a question that I informed everybody of this morning for their reflection, is how do you think of yourself? In what way do you see yourself? In what way do you think about yourself? And again, even simpler than that. How do you think of yourself? Not what people think about you, not what you think people think about you, but how do you think of yourself? And when we sat with that question in meditation, there was an incredible different story that was coming out. In one way, you've got to be so honest with how you actually think about you. Not the you that you try to project to the world, not the you that you think the world wants from you or the people want from you, not that one. That one's easy. That's at the surface. I'm talking about the you that you don't want the world to see. Now, I might have a handicap because I just have this level of being a little bit too open and too transparent. And I know it shocks a lot of my friends and people who expect folks who are spiritual to be, really spiritual. And I let them be, and I think there's some people who have that, I am really powerful, let me show you. And I think that's great. But I don't want to be somebody that deceives people. I'm just so natural. And what you see is the process of the journey taking place as all of us in our community, as we evolve into these beautiful deity souls, or into these beautiful angels, or into these beautiful human beings who are instruments to uplift humanity. So in our energy field here, in our community of the Brahma Kumaris, you bump into just this variety of individuals from all walks of life, and everyone is working on themselves from inside. Like, how do I really think of myself? That means, do you think you're good enough? Do you think you're worthless? Do you think you're the bomb? Do you think that you're not the bomb? Do you think that you are pretty? Do you think that you're ugly? Do you think... There was something I came across on Twitter. Those of you who follow me on Twitter, it's where we communicate the most with our DM messaging. But there was a woman who had taken out ribs and did a whole bunch of what to call it again? What does when you change all the faces? No, what? Oh, please help me when you go to the plastic surgeon and you change your features. Cosmetic surgery. She had performed over 30 something. This is the Twitter thing, and apparently she looks like a Barbie doll. But that was the Twitter. You know, you have to be careful with Twitter because it's only 100 and 200 characters or less or something. So not everything that I'm getting from Twitter is authentic. But for the moment of just looking at how many surgeries that she had, and I had seen this about maybe 5 years ago, and she had this very small waistline. They had to take out a rib, and she did all these things. And that was her need to define how she needed to show up in the world. And without casting at all any judgment, I can relate to her, because which woman in the world doesn't want to feel beautiful, but also match the feeling of being beautiful? Which woman do you know in the world wants to feel ugly on the inside and look ugly on the outside? We used to have a barber shop in front of our first meditation museum. Oh my gosh, I don't know if Portia's on tonight, but it would be come in ugly, come out beautiful. And we would kind of be so funny, because we would actually sometimes, if we're at the museum where the stage is, and if you're sitting as a participant, you could see the barbershop through the window, and you could actually see, are they ugly when they go out and they go in, and are they good looking when they come back out? We wouldn't take all the time to watch to find out, but sometimes we would go back and forth in the window. Anyway, her divine splendor was connected in the way she needed to see herself. And did I think that she physically looked beautiful? I don't know what she looked like before. You can't judge my definition of beauty. I have a different interpretation. I see the energy of the person as beautiful. I've not been caught up on the exterior of a person's beauty. So many of those are around, but what is the energy of the spirit of the person is where I know the beauty lives. So a lot of us ask these questions, and a lot of us look at divinity as a form of beauty. That when there is a divine energy that walks with you, that speaks through you, that you choose to listen to divinity, you know, there's a beauty that eventually comes over you, and it becomes a natural gift to the planet, because right now what the world needs is this energy of beauty and divinity and purity and a divine splendor. So today somebody sent us a video on an airline that did their new safety features, and I was saying to Santosh, see, that's divine splendor. He's like, what do you mean? They made something that's very human, very gross, very important, but they transformed it into something that could be still a spiritual experience. Do you understand how powerful this video is? And that's what I love about my path, is everything that you do should have a spiritual meaning behind it, not just superficial, not just on the surface, but what's at the base. So for me, this commercial says, your flight with us, I want you to be okay, and I want you to be safe, but also know that you are at the center of our world, and we want you to be at peace when you fly with us. We want you to be taken care of when you fly with us. So when I looked at the video, I saw divine splendor in that, and something that Lakshmi and I were sharing around breakfast today, that one of the things that we love about Washington, D.C. is our ability to bring the whole world together here. We don't have any of that kind of we have none of that prejudice, Indian, black, white, rich, poor. It's like, come on in. And I found that to be one of the most spiritual ways of communicating with people. When I look at what's going on in the United States of America, and I'm looking at my brothers and sisters not listening to their conscience and beginning to feed into things that are delusional, and they begin to think that their race or their religion or their political party is better or superior, has the answer, you know that's wrong. Everything in your fiber knows that's wrong. You know it. When your head hits the pillow at nights and you get a little quiet, that's the time I know you're tormented if you feel that way. Because when the mind becomes peaceful, your truth starts to surface in that peace. And that's why it serves some people to stay angry. It serves some people to sell lies. It serves some people to keep people at a lower vibration. The next normal has nothing to do with that. The next normal is about pulling you out of that hole and straightening up your awareness and your intellectual ability for you to recognize you have what it takes to think clearly enough that you can bring two people from opposite sides of the track, bring them in front of you and say, now what are we going to do? This is your strength, that's your strength. Let's see how we can build not only our own lives together, but the country's life. If there's one particular area that I've noticed in life, and historically, anyone that has tried to take over any country historically has never done a better job than whoever was there ruling it before. It's either stayed the same or it got worse. It was just a trade-off, you know? And so come on, we should be evolving and we should be moving into our divine state of splendor. So this is valid for a husband and a wife. This is valid for a mother and a teenager. This is valid for two friends who had a misunderstanding. This is even valid for a supervisor or a team lead at your tech company. That I've got to look for the benefit in this person. What's the speciality of this person? And how do I work with the speciality of this person instead of zoning into what we think is the weakness of that particular group of people or individual? So let's take a break and look at this very interesting video. Again, how do you change a very human situation or a human moment and divinize it and make it into a divine splendor? When we come back, you tell me what you think about the video. Enjoy.
Welcome aboard Vistara. The safety equipment on this aircraft may differ from that of other aircraft. Please give us your attention as we take you through this important safety briefing, and it will show you how to relax too.
Breathe in deeply. Straighten your posture. Bring your seat to its upright position. Please ensure that your tray table is closed during taxi, takeoff, and landing. Now slowly breathe out. This feels good. You can fasten your seatbelt by inserting the metal tip into the buckle. Adjust it to your comfort. If you are seated in business class, pull the additional shoulder strap to fasten your seatbelt. To unfasten your seatbelt, lift the metal flap like this. This aircraft has 8 emergency exits. All exits have evacuation slides that may be used as rafts in case of an emergency. In the event of an emergency landing or when you hear the command brace brace, assume your brace position. The emergency path markings on the floor will guide you to the nearest exit. Look for the nearest exit as it may be behind you. In case there is a loss in cabin pressure, oxygen mask will drop from the panel above you. Place it like this and breathe normally. Make sure your own mask is placed correctly before assisting others. A life vest is located under or next to your seat. In case we land on water, you can slip it over your head and adjust it like this. Pull the red tag to inflate the vest. If it fails to inflate, blow into the tube like this. Inflate the life vest only at the exit. your luggage in the overhead bin or under the seat in front of you. All large electronic devices such as laptops must be stored for taxi, takeoff and landing. We remind you that this is a no-smoking flight. Charging and using of e-cigarettes is also prohibited throughout the aircraft, including the lavatories. I checked. You can resist the urge by stretching a little. Bring your arms like this, lock them and count to 5. Now release gently. Not on this aircraft. Electronic devices such as mobile phones and tablets must be switched off or set to airplane mode during taxi, takeoff and landing. Even charging your electronic devices is not allowed. Call the crew for assistance should your electronic device get overheated, damaged or drop into the gap between the seats. This final asana will relax your spine and help you enjoy the flight.
For further information, refer to the safety instruction card kept in your seat pocket. Kindly contact your cabin crew for any assistance. On behalf of Vistara, we wish you a relaxing flight on India's best airline.
I have to tell you, everyone, compliments to Vistara Airline. I mean, that's divine splendor. That's divine splendor where you are still carrying on with your physical needs, you're working, you're taking flights, you're taking the family here or there, but where's your mindset? What's at your foundation? What's at your base? And I was sharing with everybody today, I go, this is how Washington at the Brahma Kumaris has been from we've gotten here. We have never separated the whole notion that spirituality meant to be somewhere over here, and what I do with my life to earn a living and take care of my family goes over here. Never thought of it. I never believed that was the way. I've often believed that as I'm sitting here, I'm in my spiritual place as a person and life unfolds. Bills are being paid, food is being cooked, cupboards are getting reorganized, productions are taking place, and you're not separate from the fact that you are here to create the energy of peace, the energy of divinity. At first, you didn't understand what this video meant, right? You're like, what is this? Is this a yoga video? Is this a plane video? Wait, what? This is a emergency landing video? Oh, I did, but you see, and that's what happens with spirituality. People find it very hard to be able to discern what is spirituality. And you and I don't have any right to discern if we think someone is spiritual or not. We don't know what they're thinking, what they're going through. But yes, behavior does prove consciousness, there is no doubt. But even at the base, we don't know if the person is having remorse, or if the person is really wanting to change. We don't know. Chadwick Boseman, who passed away just recently of pancreatic cancer, he did 4 or 5 films during his chemo and all of these treatments, and nobody knew. He was a spiritual guy. You don't go through stage 4 cancer and do chemo and film all of these movies that everybody loves so much and nobody knows. So when you're in your spiritual path and when you're developing your divine splendor, you're bringing the true you into everything that you do. And has nothing to do with how much you think you're proving to someone that you've got this or not. I mean, that's okay if we did that in our 20s. And I say that because I want to be okay with that. You know, when you're like 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, of course your ego is developing with you at that time. And you can't tell a 15 or 16-year-old, sit there and om and breathe peacefully and be a good and sweet and kind person. They're like, yes, Mom, I will. Okay, that's great. I can do it. But at the same token, that child is growing into themselves. Their hormones are getting activated. Their friends are different than how they might be at home. A lot of things are changing for that child. And so as a parent, you're sometimes wishing them for the best, and you're trying to put them at bay, you know, come on, sit like this, talk like this. And the child is like, get off my back, you know, because their ego is developing. And then if their ego clashes with their parents' ego, then you get a nice Mahabharat going on in the house, you know, it's like a nice little fight. But when there's divine splendor and you see that the child is growing and the child has to go through that stage, and you have to get to a place of acceptance, and you say, I have to let this go because I do want the best for my child. It just seems like they're on another track. At least for now they are. But maybe life will give them experiences like it did me. So when your divinity comes into the situation, it starts to give you more peace of mind. And you start to move more into a place of acceptance, which becomes real divinity when you start to move more closer to acceptance. All right, I hope everyone's enjoying the conversation tonight. Thumbs up. Everyone's okay? Louise, welcome. Om Shanti. Practical and peaceful, right? Easier to be attentive for such a safety instructions. Yes, it's so true. Well, welcome to everybody on Dara. Nice to have you. Parveen, Om Shanti. Nice to have you the other day. Nikki, Om Shanti. Robin, Susanna, there's a song they made of you. Ranju, Ananya, and Santosh and I were talking about you the other day. Yes, today. I was remembering you, Ananya. Maria, nice to have you join us. Zora, Om Shanti. Kailash, nice to talk to you and nice to have you on board too. So, yesterday I had forgotten to physically pause. I don't know if Vashti is on today, but if you remembered yesterday, Vashti was asking us for our good wishes. Do you all remember? Her mother is in the, I think she's in the hospital in Trinidad, and she's in New York or vice versa. And I had promised her that we would have held a moment of prayer and reflection for her and her mother. Now, I don't know if she's on today, but it doesn't matter. I still want us to honor the heartbeat of her mother today. So please, let's take a moment of silence and hold her in silence and in peace right now. Okay. So we're holding Vashti's mother in peace and in silence, wishing her to have a speedy recovery. Vashti, everyone here with you, we're surrounding you and supporting you. Know that she'll be well, and don't worry. Your blessings, your pure feelings, your good wishes will help. All right, Om Shanti. I'm glad that you were on, Vashti. My apologies for yesterday. Sometimes our time is strained and different things come and go. I was going to play a beautiful meditation today. However, it would take us into a pretty long space. And what I'd like to do instead is just to play our Om Shanti song for a little pause for this moment and create the feeling of this divine splendor that we have the ability to nurture. The next normal is divinity. And if you're not in a space of divinity, you're back in the old. And the old wasn't that great anyway. And we knew we weren't doing that great anyway. In a way, many of us wanted change, but we weren't quite sure what the change would have been like, nor it would have been so stark. that it would have woken up the whole world, that it would have just become such a game changer, which has been no joke. For those who have lost loved ones, I can't begin to tell you how much I feel that we're with you, that you couldn't be with them. And when you have to do the funerals now on Zoom or on FaceTime, I don't know if you all know this, but even before the pandemic, and I wrote an article in Huffington Post, my father's eulogy on FaceTime. If you go to Huffington Post, it should be there on their sister Jenna. And I happened to have been on an Amtrak train heading to New York to be at a big gala with world leaders. And I couldn't attend my father's funeral because at the time when everything was arranged, I was already going. And when I had requested the date for the funeral, the rest of the bigger family, even though I'm the only child, but the rest of the bigger family decided that they needed to do it that day because it was more convenient for the whole family except for me. And that was fine. I really had no hurt feelings, by the way. So while I was on the Amtrak train, I did my father's eulogy on FaceTime. And I remembered when I showed up and Princess Basma was waiting for me. And as she opened the door and I looked at her, the first thing I said to her wasn't Om Shanti, wasn't Salam Alaikum, because she's from the Islamic background. It wasn't, hey girl, how you doing? It was, as soon as she opened the door, I says, Bas, I just did my father's eulogy on FaceTime. She looked at me and, are you okay? I go, I'm not sure. And I entered the room. So I can sense what people are feeling when they're doing their funerals with their families and friends on Zoom. But in another way, there is a blessing in it, because there is a kind of a purity. And what I mean by a purity is there's space between everyone in a Zoom room doing a funeral. And I think people get a chance to really sit and be in that divinity mentally and emotionally for that loved one in a different way that they'd never been before. When our daddy Janki left her body on March 27th and we couldn't go to India to see her off, we all felt her at a mental level. And there was something far more expansive than it would have been if we all took our flights to India and, enjoyed the heat and, customs and cars and accommodations and, dealing with 20 or 10,000 people for her funeral, and these are just family members, so to speak. It would have been a lot. But instead, Daddy Janki had the whole world at her funeral. The whole world, 120 countries attended Daddy Janki's funeral. That you wouldn't have gotten if we didn't have this pandemic. So for those who have lost loved ones, please see the silver lining at this particular time. There's something in it. And know that there is a peace that will come over you once you keep elevating your consciousness and moving into your divine splendor. So let's take a moment, take a breath, enjoy this breather, and contemplate on some of the words that I've shared with you in tonight's sharing. Has anything touched your heart? Has anything opened you up? Did you find yourself moving into another paradigm of recognizing just how beautiful and how powerful you are, and that divinity has been with you the whole time? All it's asking from you, can you pay more attention to me, please? Can you nurture me more? Can you feed me? Can you bring me into everything that you do? Enjoy this.
Together we are this voice. Together we make this choice. Together we make this choice. Together, Om Shanti. We're singing Om Shanti.
Hi, my name is Lynn McTaggart. This is our moment of choice. And the reason is that we're facing an unprecedented crisis in every aspect of our lives. We're facing the ending of the story of who we are and how we're supposed to live. We're coming to an end of days in our current way of life. This book, Our Moment of Choice, is important because it's assembled a group of new thought leaders who have a very different story to tell, who have a new path through to a better future, who are uncovering all of the latent powers we have to live in a more holistic way. In my own case, I talk about the new science showing that we have healing hidden powers within us to heal ourselves, our lives, the world, by assembling in small groups. But we can't do this alone. This has to be a movement. So what do you choose to do in the weeks and months ahead? Thank you for listening.
Choice. Today they launched the book out, everyone. So if you get a chance, go on to either unity.earth website or Facebook or Evolutionary Leaders, which I'm very humbled to be also a member of an incredible group of individuals that are changing the world every single day. And so they launched the book, and it's really giving you a lot of ideas and techniques that we can think about our next normal. Our wonderful Reverend Sylvia Sumter is also featured in the book. My wonderful brother Michael Beckwith, Lynn is in the book, Jean Houston, the list goes on. And so I think it's a nice read. In addition to that, my buddy Carolyn Mace is having a live program today for the release of her new book. And this book, I'll tell you about it because I had the fortune of endorsing it. It's The Intimate Conversations with the Divine by Carolyn Mace, M-Y-S-S. That's going to be going on tonight at 8 p.m. If you go to Carolyn Mace, MYSS.com, and tune into her live program, she'll be talking about the book. It is a fantastic book. When I was first, with my diagnosis of my health opportunity, Caroline sent me the manuscript, and I tell you, when I would go to bed and wake up with it, it was so soothing. It really took me through. So please tune in if you can, and in the comment list, let her know that you heard about it on The Next Normal with your best sister, Sister Jenna. And also, if you are planning to acquire a copy of Our Moment of Choice or to go online, just let them know where you heard about it too, just to keep the links going, that's all. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I hope that you were able to take a lot from our time together and the whole discussion, that you can bring your divinity into anything that you do. It's a thought away, it's an intention, it's a feeling, it's a vibe. The world needs that now. The world needs divinity more than anything else. And that's all the universe is asking from each and every one of us. Bring the best part of you forward. Bring your divinity forward. And when you find that it's walking away from you, it's okay. Get up, brush yourself off, bring it back again. Until it gets to the particular point in your personality, it can't be hidden. It's 24/7. And I think that's what the next normal will be. The next normal is 24/7 of divinity. If you've not signed up for that, beep. So thanks again. Take good care. Lots of love for all the good wishes that came, Vashti. I'm so glad you enjoyed, and I know you've gotten all the blessings from your parents. For your mom, by the way, her mom's in Trinidad and she's in New York. Asmita, you're welcome, my dear. Always lovely to have you. Praveen, welcome. Wendy, you're welcome. Susanna, thank you so much for joining again. Diraj, Louise, Etta from Florida, Hollywood, Florida. Yes, it's a beautiful song, Etta. Keep playing it. Etta does a wonderful morning session on Facebook. And what I love about Etta and Roz, we would call them senior citizens. I call them the wisdom keepers. And in the mornings, they conduct this meditation and using different meditation techniques. And so please look out for them. Etta, what is the Facebook address? If you have it, you can just put it in the comments list and we can have everybody see it. And Mercedes, I remember the time we went for a walk in New York at Peace Village, and we went on the mountaintop and you yelled out, Om Shanti, Shanti. And I just always thought that was such a special moment between us. So glad that you can join us. Take care of yourselves. Thank you for joining us with The Next Normal. May the next normal be one of just divinity, 24/7. So everyone here says good night, including Happy. She's fast asleep over there, snoring away. I don't know if you can hear her. But she's become a little old lady, She's 7 years old now this year. So she's walking around like a little old lady. Om Shanti. Good night, everybody, and lots of love to each and every one of you.
We find our nation on a precipice, true tipping point. Is this the moment that will finally change our country? Trying to rain on the thunder. Tell the storm I'm new. I'ma rain on this bitter love. Tell the tweet I'm new.
It's not a broken system. It was built to function exactly as it is.
We must respond with bold action.
This is our country too. We can build new systems that do what they should.
I'm a wild, come and march on the regular.
We are united. We are standing.
Follow away.
And we are going to fight this fight.
Freedom, I can't move. Freedom, cut me loose. I break chains all by myself.
There is something happening across this country.
When we work and when we fight and when we march and when we speak up and when we offer solutions, we win.
I'ma keep running because the winner don't quit on themselves.
It's always the right time to celebrate women and black women in particular.
It is an opportunity to show the nation and the world that we will act. It has been an inspiration.
You have the choice, and it is that choice that gives you power.
Vote. Vote like your life depends on it, because it does.
That is what we need next. Action.
everyone, it's Sister Jenna from America Meditating Radio. I hope you've been enjoying Wise-ish, which you can get live on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube from 8:30 a.m. to 8:45. But you can also get it on demand 24/7. It's going to be your power boost for the morning. It's your daily dose for the soul. It's just going to encourage you to make the day that much more valuable. So join us. Looking forward to seeing you. Hi everyone, I'm Sister Jenna. Welcome to our special Zoom meditation segments. Look, it's no joke. Things are kind of weird. It's just weird. Pandemics, protests, job insecurity, global pause. Everyone's numb, but also everyone's searching. And they might be searching on this little gadget of Zoom in a little box. People from all over the world who don't know each other are coming together in Zoom rooms to figure out who they are, why they're here, and how to meditate. Meditation is something that we've often thought that if we make our minds empty, we've meditated. I don't believe that. I think it's important that we learn how to channel our thoughts in a right way that are connected to our vision, our goal, our spiritual attainments, our mental capacity. Then you're really meditating.
This healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for